Hello,
Yes.
Karina.
Hello.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And welcome to the Global Virtual Summit 2025, Karina. And before starting your session, I want to introduce you to our audience.
Great. Thank you. Please do.
Yeah. Karina is a qualified clinical psychologist with a degree from Lynn University in Boca Raton, Florida, and a postgraduate specialization in neuropsychology from IPOG in Brazil. She focuses on cognitive behavioral therapy and neuroscience to support emotional balance and personal growth. Karina empowers women and adolescents through integrative self care, neuropsychological evaluations, and rehabilitation techniques. Her work promotes self awareness, confidence, and resilience. She is passionate about helping clients align mind, body, and spirit to lead fulfilled and abundant lives. That's a great bio, Karina. You have done a really great job, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm very glad to be here. Let me go ahead and put on my resources for you guys. Let me just see where my PowerPoint has gone. I'm so sorry.
Yes, Karina, do you need any assistance?
I think I'm good. I should be able to share the screen right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Now I think I'm good. Hmm. Let's try one more time. If not, I can ask for assistance. I did upload the resource here, but for some reason it's not showing up. Let me try one more time. Yes, I would like assistance, please. I am not being able to share the screen to present to the audience my PowerPoint. I did upload it as a document.
Yes, Karina, shall we present from our end?
Yes, I think that would be okay.
Yeah, please give me 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, Karina, give me 2 more minutes. Our technical team is working on it.
Okay. I'll keep trying on my end if that's okay.
Yes, okay.
Maybe if I go here, an entire screen, and then I'll be able to open it up from here. Let's see. Sorry to keep you guys waiting.
Yes, Karina.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, yes. You can proceed with your presentation.
Hello, are you able to see my
Yes.
screen?
Yes, Karina, please proceed with your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm not able to see you guys, so if I'm speaking too fast, please let me know, okay? So, hello, once again, I'd like to introduce myself just for whoever came after my introduction. My name is Karina da Fonseca. I'm a clinical psychologist and neuropsychologist, rehabilitation counselor in Salvador, Bahia, Brazil. But I have a degree from Lynn University and my postgrad here in Brazil. And the theme of my talk today is Mind Over Matter, how understanding your brain can empower your business journey. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey. I picked this topic because it has a lot to do with my personal history, and I think it can help any female entrepreneur that's here today because burnout is a very common topic nowadays, and one of the main clinical cases that I have in my private practice. So my journey begins in 2020 when I started using marketing to grow my business around the pandemic. And because I really wanted to succeed in my business, I followed 15 plus mentors and got really overwhelmed because I don't know if any of you have ever tried the marketing and social media managing path for a mental health practice, but it's a lot about attracting the right person to your practice because not everybody is going to identify with your work. It's still in my country a very sensitive topic, so a lot of people don't look for mental health practices, and that makes it a little bit more difficult. So I really wanted to succeed, and I started my journey like this. But then, because I was extremely overwhelmed and I was having a lot of direction from different people, I had a burnout diagnosis. Yes, I really wanted to succeed, and that led me to um, overworking because not only was I seeing clients, was I having a practice, I was also trying to be everything at once, trying to be a marketing manager, trying to be a social media manager. And that made me completely disbelief in myself and in my practice. So I had to pause, I had to breathe, I had to reconnect, just like any one of you who have ever been through a burnout episode. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about why women specifically might burn out. Well, these are the three main things that I've observed in my clinical practice, but also through research. There's a lot of external pressure to perform and to conform. And what I mean by that is since women are seen as caretakers a lot of the time, and also there's gender disequality, especially in Brazil, which is the population that I most see, the women they are expected to prove themselves in the business market. They are expected to prove themselves as qualified even though they might have a family, they might have children. And so this external pressure to perform and also to conform to the norms of, for example, a business, and that leads women to burn out more than men. Also, the chronic stress from the hustle culture. And what I mean by that is the same thing that led me to my burnout, which is I need to do it. I need to be the best. I need to give the best care or the best marketing. And the need to always be ahead also leads to stress, which can lead to burnout. And because we really want to be the best in everything that we do, the perfectionism and comparison loops also lead to burnout. And what I mean by that is you really want to perfect giving a good service, giving a good marketing, but also you look at the person next to you and you start to compare yourself and doubt yourself. And that not only steals you from your own success and from your own story, but also leads to comparison that can be extremely overwhelming as well. And so, what I had to do was basically rewiring from within. The first thing that I had to question was, as a good neuropsychologist, neuroplasticity. So I knew the capacity that my brain had to change. And I know that your brain, if you've ever been through a burnout episode, can also change. Um, and beside from that, there's also a need for a lot of self knowledge because you can only align your business to yourself and make it sustainable if you know yourself first. Because the purpose of making a business sustainable and making it healthy to prevent a burnout relapse is building a business that actually fits you even before the client. Because if you are comfortable with your business, then you can attract the correct clients. And tools to make this journey more sustainable, to make this journey more healthy for you are at first daily self check ins. So, when you're talking to a friend or when you're talking to someone that you check in with them, someone that you care about. Well, you have to do that with yourself as well. So, ask yourself, how am I doing today? How can I do the best when I'm having a bad day? Sometimes your best on a bad day is going to be the least on your good day, but that's also okay. We're human, we're not machines. You also have to know your burnout signs. So, common burnout signs are extreme physical exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, crying episodes, lack of motivation. You may love your job just like I did, but I couldn't even sustain it. Craft marketing that feels good. So, you have to be able to find a marketing strategy that makes you feel good about yourself and about your business because that's the way it's going to be sustainable. And maybe the most tricky part in all of this, at least for me, trust your instincts over algorithms. So it's okay to go completely in a different direction if that makes sense to you. Because again, we're building a business that fits you to make it healthy for your well being and for your business overall. So the next phase that I also went through when I was rewiring myself was the first phase that I went through that led to the burnout was that I believed that the more I did, the faster success would come. So I wanted to do more and perfect it every time. And that's why I followed 15 plus mentors and implemented too much at once. So that led me to be extremely overwhelmed and I couldn't even differentiate one mentor from the other, what happened that was good, what happened that was bad, and I wasn't able to keep up with all of this information. And because I wanted to do the best and the faster success would come if I continued to do it, I ignored the signs of fatigue, thinking that hustling was the answer, just like the hustle culture will emphasize a lot of times. So then the breakdown came, and I suffered with panic attacks, insomnia, and emotional detachment. And being um, very honest with you, I, used to pick up my phone to be able to look at Instagram and do my marketing, my daily posts, and I would have panic attacks. So I was functioning, I was living my life, I was seeing my clients, but I was completely disconnected from the world, from who I was, and from social media in a healthy way. And so the diagnosis of burnout, it came after my social support system told me that I needed to get help. And it was very hard for me as a mental health professional to realize that. And it felt like a failure at first. I blamed myself for not seeing it. And the awakening happened when I paused everything, even the business. If I wasn't doing well, I wasn't able to give the best care to my patients. So I had to pause it. And I had to be an example for my patients that a lot of times are going through similar processes. So I started to reflect on how I got to this stage. How did burnout come? What were the signs that I was ignoring? And I chose to reconnect with myself before anything else. That was the awakening process. I had to choose myself because during this process, I didn't choose myself. I chose the business. And you should be able to prioritize yourself so your business can succeed. And then again, why women burn out? Pressure to be perfect in all roles, work, family, and relationships. In the Latin culture, which is where I'm from, I'm Brazilian, a lot of women assume the role of caretaking and emotional labor. So, how am I able to succeed in a business that is going to um, that is going to take from me this time, that is going to consume my time, consume my energy, but also balance it with caretaking, with being that role, that caretaker role for my family. That demands a lot of saying no. And the lack of rest, the lack of guilt around saying no, when people aren't able to say no, they don't have their emotional boundaries and their physical boundaries well established. And that also leads to burnout. So we need to be able to say and state our boundaries and also sustain them. And just to get a little into statistics for you to see how this affects women, I took some statistics from the American Psychiatric Association. Women are 2 times more likely to report burnout symptoms when compared to their male counterparts. Also, female entrepreneurs often operate without support systems. As I said in the beginning of my talk, I was flying solo in my business, if you can understand me. And so I assumed a lot of different roles, and that also makes you go into the hustle culture, you consume yourself a lot more without having a lot of time to rest and to balance with a healthy work life balance. And many people normalize stress and disconnect until it's too late because the hustle culture makes you believe that this is normal. A lot of people come to my clinic and tell me that they blame themselves when they rest because something feels wrong. And this is an example of how normalizing stress can lead to this emotional and physical disconnection with yourself and your body. So I wanted to give you an overview of what neuroplasticity is in a very basic term. It's the capacity of the brain to rewire itself through the experience that it lives. So this is a good thing because the brain is an organ that is fantastic when it comes to rewiring itself. And so burnout isn't permanent. So the difficulties that you had and the symptoms that you had, they can be, um, I wouldn't say fixed, fix isn't the word, but they can become healthy with new habits, creating new pathways. And so, how are we going to build this? How are we going to adapt a brain that's going through a burnout process? Small daily actions that lead to massive change over time. And this is a daily choice to do differently, to act differently. So, first of all, I wanted to emphasize the importance of mind body connection. So, burnout lives in the nervous system. It's not just your mind. A lot of people think that it has to do just with the mind because it has a lot of emotional symptoms. But fatigue is also a sign of your body. So, healing requires body based tools such as breathe, movement, and stillness. For example, yoga or breathing practices. They are very important to get out of your mind, to kind of silence that noise and make sure that you connect with your body. I usually tell my clients in order to get out of your busy mind, you need to connect with your body. And I learned to listen to my body again. So, some of my personal practices that I did with my burnout process, because again, this all started with my personal process, connection with my spirituality, with prayers, Bible study, and journaling for mental clarity in the morning. So, before I pick up my phone, before I respond to any of my clients, to my assistant, I do not um, start my day without doing this connection with myself and with what I believe in. It helps me start the day in the present, which makes me pause and go against this hustle culture. I also exercise at least 3 times a week. It's a lot more sometimes, but I also tell my clients that we have to establish goals that are possible for us. So I couldn't say exercise every day if that isn't possible in my schedule. So at least 3 times a week, 30 minutes to an hour, I exercise, and that's a priority. I also take long walks in the beach or at nature to get out of my head and connect to my body. Again, as I said, to aid in staying in the present. Weekly therapy to maintain mental health and also relapse prevention, and at least 3 pauses per day to breathe and take care of myself. I also implement with my clients. It's something that I tested with myself and it works, so I implement with them. It's kind of like an alphabet for self care. So I give them an alphabet and I tell them to fill in something from each square, for example, letter A, that they can use as a self care habit. And so A can be um, aid in learning something new. And so something that will they will do for their well-being for at least 30 minutes a day. And that's something that I include in my pauses. Boundaries as empowerment. As I said, boundaries are extremely important for burnout prevention and relapse prevention if you have already had burnout. Learning to say no without guilt, I think it's fundamental, not for just this purpose, but for emotional well being overall. Also, staying protected for your energy, protecting your energy like your time, being able to organize yourself in a way that's sustainable and that's healthy for you is super important. And empowerment is in the pause, not the push. So again, remember that I talked about the three pauses and the self-care. That's kind of is what's going to nourish your business and yourself to keep going and to make it sustainable. And also implement self-compassion over perfection. The first step is letting go of doing it all. So, yes, you do have to be able to give tasks to other people as soon as you can. I know that when your business starts, and that involves financial planning, that also involves your ability to let go, but it's extremely necessary for your mental health. Also, speaking to yourself with the same kindness you author others. That can be an exercise that you should be able to do in your daily life, not only related to your business. Test it, and you can come and contact me afterwards and see how that's going to make a difference, even in your own self esteem and your self image. And celebrate your progress, not just the productivity. Progress is different from productivity and results. It can be learning to choose yourself, saying no. So celebrate these steps as well. And how I empowered myself in action, because life, it happens as it's going. And so this whole experience, I went from burnout to purpose driven work. I went from self doubt to grounded confidence. And I went from the necessity to prove myself and to others, to simply being myself. And to me, that's freedom. That's how I make my um, mark in the world. That's how I become a better clinician. That's how I become a better psychologist for my patients. That's how I become an example for patients that know this story, that see me in other talks, and look for me because they know that it's possible if I'm a living example. So, a final reflection that you should, after this talk, if you didn't hear anything, if you didn't understand anything, you can go home with these three questions so you can have your own self reflection. Remember about the self talk that I said? Well, you can practice now. What would it look like to trust your own pace? Remember that in order to tailor your business to fit you, you have your own rhythm. And having the self knowledge to know how your body works, how your mind works is very important. What needs to soften so your energy can rise? How can you exercise self compassion? How can you put your boundaries out there? How can you become a better boss for yourself if you have a business? And you're not behind. Remember that if you're in this process of recovering from a burnout or from burnout prevention, you're realigning yourself to a business that's going to be a lot more sustainable after you find your own path, after you rewire from within. And so I wanted to leave my contact information if you would like to contact me. This is my Instagram. Um, it's PC Karina Fonseca. LinkedIn, my full name, and my website, karinafonseca.com. You can find my posts that I'm a lot present in Instagram now in a healthy way. I found a way to do it that is something that helps to disseminate information about mental health and the importance of connecting with yourself in order to have a healthy well-being and a good work-life balance. Also, as an independent clinician, I also work with in-company projects. And so if you are a business owner and you realize that a lot of your collaborators are having difficulties with burnout processes. If you see that that's a pattern that's repeating itself, you can also reach out to me for an in-company process, and we can realign this together in a group, which has profound effects also for this company, which will help you and your collaborators succeed together. And these are my references. In case you would like them, you can reach out to me and we can talk a lot about this. I'm very open to to talking about this. I constantly research this. So if you have any questions or you would like to talk about this topic, I'm very open to
Yes,
exchanging
Karina.
contacts and talking to whoever is interested. Thank you very much.
Yes, Karina, thank you very much for your valuable time. Very impressive session. And we have a few questions from our audience, Karina.
Great.
As a woman entrepreneur, how can we spot early signs of burnout?
Great question. Well, the first thing I would say is observe yourself. How do you normally function? So you can do that daily self check in. Do I feel motivated most of the time? How is my fatigue level? Is it a lot? Am I sleeping a lot? How's my appetite going? Do I feel motivated to do exercise? Do I like going to work? And these daily check ins can help you to monitor your well being and identify the first signs of burnout.
Yes, thank you so much for your answer. And we have a few more questions. We directly
Mhm.
post your email. You can respond there
Oh, okay, great. Um, where do I leave my email?
in chat box.
Okay, I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat box. Oh, now I can see all of your comments. Thank you very much for your interest. I'm very open to answering all of your questions. I'm going to leave my contact information, and you are welcome to contact me.
Thank you so much, Karina. Thank you for your valuable time. And be on the backstage and join the next session, please.
Go ahead. Thank you. I may need a little help to transition from